Or number 3, how will the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles be remembered? Give me one word. Give me one word. How will the Eagles be remembered? One word. One word that describes the season of the 2022 Philadelphia Eagles. Overachieved, exposed, hurts. Wow. I'm not sure. Yale's is a backhanded slap. Good team. Chokers, amazing, overrated, best roster. Overhyped. What would be a good word to describe this team? Can you do it in one word? I don't know if you could do it in one word. Unexpected? I like that. It's not choke. 38-35 is not choking against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. It's not a choke. Beginning? Surprising? One-hit wonder? I don't know if you could do it in one word. How would you describe that team that fits? You want to show some type of respect because it was a great season, but it comes up short. See, to me, it's more of a phrase. It's unfinished business. You know, it's unfinished business. Promise? Short. Memorable. Incomplete. I like those. Incomplete, memorable. Incomplete, though. Incomplete. Incomplete. Okay? Incomplete. Opportunity. Incomplete. Imagine that. Best roster in Eagle history. And your identity for the year is incomplete. Incomplete. Because you feel empty. All that great work. And you slid down the hill. Okay? And you slid down the hill. I mean, you got to the top of the peak. You're getting ready to put the flag on top of Everest, and you slide down the hill. Incomplete is the word. Damn. That's what makes it so nauseating. Shit, man. Incomplete? Oof. Guys, when you get to that moment, man, and you're right there and you're sitting there, I'm going to give you just can I give you just a small moment with Jerome and I? Okay? We were considered the greatest college football team in the history of college football when we played Penn State in front of 100 million people. It was like 90 million people or something like that. Still to this day, the highest rated game. I'll never forget, we hold the team to 130 yards of total offense. We had 7 turnovers. We gave up as many turnovers as we had that Penn State had first downs. We had 7 turnovers. They had 7 first downs. And I'll never forget, they're driving down. Jerome and I got up on the stand in Arizona, of all places. Jerome looks at me. He goes, "You think we score?" I looked at Jerome and went, "No." He sat down. We both sat down. He threw a pick with 5 seconds. He looked at me. He goes, "You knew, didn't you?" He goes, "It wasn't meant for us. It just wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't meant to be." Jerome looked over at me. He goes, "Damn, we killed this team." I go, no one will remember that." He's like, "Shit, you called it. We're on the 5 seconds left." He goes, "You think we're scoring?" I go, "No. I think he's going to throw a pick." I sat down. Jerome sat down. He throws a pick. He goes, "Fuck." My aunt was there. So close. 5 yards to being called the greatest college football team of all time. Jimmy Johnson says it's his toughest loss to this day. When you're that close and you're right there and it's incomplete, damn, dude, that's going to hang on that franchise for a little bit. That's going to hang there. Okay? Imagine rooting for a team that hasn't won shit since 95. Hey, man, that's incomplete. That's got to suck for guys like Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey. Thank God they got rings. Thank God they have rings. All right. I promised you I'd give you a list of free agents. And I want to see if this whets your appetite at all. Okay? Especially if the Eagles come up short next year. God forbid the Eagles look like the Rams this year coming up. What if the Eagles look like the Rams? What if they're like the Rams? You don't know that. Tougher schedule, free agents. You're not promised anything. Oh, we're going to be great. Really? All right. We shall see. Oh, my God, Chris, you did have the game. Chris, you not only had the game, Chris, you were killing them. Okay? You were killing them. These are some free agents, just randomly I wrote down to see what and if this whet your appetite at all. Okay? The 5th ranked free agent, Josh Jacobs, running back. He's 24, Raiders. Interest? No interest. What do you think? Interest or no interest? He's going to command probably around $7 million. $8 million? Well, shit, if I'm going to pay for a running back, too expensive? Perry, Andy Reid is successful because he builds rosters. Yeah, of rookies. And he let a $30 million wide receiver go. Jacobs, yes. Go to the draft. David Montgomery's talking about the Chicago Bear guy. Ah, look at these guys. Some smart people in this building. I won't tell you who. Oh, if it's $10 million, he ain't ever getting it. Yes, 87, brother. How about Jesse Bates? Number 7 ranked safety. And he's 25. Bengals. Interest? No interest. What do you think? Interest? No interest. Jesse Bates. I know, brother. I was in him too. No. Okay. So too expensive for Josh Jacobs. And Jesse Bates, no. This one's a little bit older. Devonta David, inside linebacker, 10th highest rated free agent. He's 33, which means he's not going to command a lot of money. He's not getting 20. But would you pay 9 for a guy like this who's a proven veteran? Devonta David, Bucks. Instead of going into the draft and drafting a linebacker, look, you may have to draft 2 corners or a safety and corner. You put him on one because he's the 10th. He's probably going to want a 2-year deal. I think you should look at him, depending what the money is and how many years he wants. Bucks may re-sign him. I agree. They should. How about this guy? Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker. He's 24, Bills, 18th highest ranked free agent. He's 24. He's a pretty good ball player, Tremaine Edmonds. He could play. He's good. And guess what he's done? He's covered tight ends. He plays in the AFC. He covers backs out of the backfield, something these linebackers in Philly struggled all year. Tremaine Edmonds. I think you look at him. Watch this. You get rid of TJ and you get rid of Kaiser and you put Nakobe in and you sign this guy, he's 24. Now, again, Bills may re-sign him. Okay? Bills may re-sign him. He's a hell of a ball player. Schwartz loves him. Or Bills head coach loves him. He's a good ball player, man. $19, highest ranked free agent. Jameel Dean, cornerback, 26, Bucks. Sean McDermott, thank you, guys. Slipped my mind. The Buccaneers cornerback, he's 26. I'm probably saying no to him, too. Pretty good ball player, though. How about this kid? Isaiah Oliver, cornerback, 26, Falcons. This kid's a good player. Every day we're gonna throw some potential free agents at you guys. This kid, Isaiah Oliver, can play. I like him. I watched him play. And I don't think he's gonna cost you an arm and a leg. You may have to give up draft equity for him, because that's what the Falcons are looking for, is draft equity. And you might be able to sign him to a Bradbury type deal. Probably have to put an additional year on it. Okay? So out of this list, I'm with you on Jesse Bates. I wanted Jesse Bates kind of last year. And I don't think Duke Tobin's going to just hand him over. They're going to try to move him before March 12th. Josh Jacobs is too expensive. Devonta David, I'd rather, I think, go in the draft. I like this kid, Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, Bills. I think the Eagles should take a look at him. Jameel Dean, the Buccaneer guy, 26. I believe the Bucs will probably try to re-sign him. And Isaiah Oliver, the kid from the Falcons. This kid's a good player. These guys are highly rated. The question is going to be, what's the market price? This is a pretty deep draft this year on corners and safeties, just so you know. So you're going to be able to leverage this. Okay? A couple of these guys on this list are pretty good. All right. Let's do this now. Dan, would you trade Slay to the Bears for Brisker? I would trade Slay for draft picks, not a player. Okay? I want draft picks. I want to have my own guys. I don't want someone else's guys, so to speak. Now, free agency has been a great thing for the Eagles, but those guys have to fit into a culture. I'd rather see, the problem with the Eagle roster this year, there's too many guys out there that are missionaries. These guys are mercenaries, I should say. They were one-year mercenaries. They had no loyalty to the Eagles. They have no loyalty to the Eagles. None. These guys are all guys who have their own life vest. They're not homegrown. They have no loyalty to you. I know some people think they do. They have no loyalty to you. Okay? They're mercenaries. They're one-year mercenaries. They came in here to use Philly so that they can get more money. They know they're not going to get more money in Philadelphia. That's why it's wishful thinking that you're going to get C.J. Gardner-Johnson on some sort of hometown cooking. He's not going to do that. The guy was making $836,000. You think he wants to give somebody a deal? That guy's going to make $12, $13 million. He's not giving anybody a deal. Bradbury's not giving anybody a deal. He's going to go to a team that gives him the most money. These are guys that are going to grab the money bag. They're not grabbing opportunity. They don't care about that. These guys don't give a shit about that. They're going to grab the most money they can. That's right, yeah. They provided a service. They delivered. Now it's about them and their agent. Yeah, can you imagine these guys with their agents going like this? Can you imagine Gardner-Johnson's agent going, hey, Philly really likes you. Let's give him a $5 million less money when the kid made $836,000 last year. I'd fire that guy in a second. That's dumb thinking, guys. That's dumb thinking. Nobody's giving you a deal. Your deal was last year. CJ gave you a deal. TJ gave you a deal. Bradbury gave you a deal. Shit, Jalen Hurts gave you a deal. They're not going to do it again when they have leverage. Why would they do that? Stop thinking like a fan and understand that this is about the logo, not about the name on the back of the jersey. Who gives a shit what the name is on the back of the jersey? Who cares? This is about the team's success. You got to have like almost a college mentality. Every 4 years, every 2 years, every 1 year, the guy and the rosters change. This is about like Bama, Hurricanes. This is like that kind of stuff. Who gives a shit about that stuff? The name on the back of the jersey is the lesser than the name on the front of the jersey. Bradbury and Slay. Who gives a shit? They're looking for money. You're looking for wins. Treat them that way. I think we end up drafting Bama running back Gibbs with the 31st. I'm gonna get there here in a second. Guys are looking at this wrong. Look, it's a great organization to work for. They got a great environment. They got a quarterback who looks like he could be the guy. All of that is, but you really have a ton of question marks. If you're a free agent on that team right now, you don't know what you're coming back to next year. Like I told you, this is why the 49ers have a better roster than you, because they don't have decisions to make. And they got to the NFC title. You got one more game further than them. And they're not paying a quarterback. And they're not losing anybody. You got to make all the right decisions. Look at the steps you got to make. You got to get right on corner, safety, linebackers, DTs, running back, depth, right guard, center maybe. You don't know if Juergens is the dude. You're assuming that. You're assuming it. And for the record, the 49ers have been in NFC championship games the last 4 years with the current situation they're in. 3 years ago, the Eagles had 4 wins. They're not going anywhere. Their history says that. They're not going anywhere. All right. I actually got some trades here in this first mock draft that I put together. Okay? This is my first mock draft that I've put together here. Post Super Bowl. By the way, I have a top 10 quarterback list. Let's start from one down. Now that Shane Steichen is the head football coach, in Indianapolis, I believe the Colts trade with the Bears to get to the number 1 pick, and they take Bryce Young, number 1. They need a quarterback. I think Bryce Young is 6 foot. He's about 220 pounds, a little small. But today's NFL, you don't have to be Hulk Hogan anymore. You can't hit these kids. I think he's a playmaker. I think he's a good ball player. The question will be, will this guy be able to stand up to 17 NFL football games, counting the postseason? Okay? To me, this has to be, again, okay? This has to be the guy that, to me, Bryce Young will be the best guy that they have in that building since Andrew Luck. So I think the Colts trade with the Bears at number 1. And I think they take Bryce Young, the Bama quarterback. Number 2, Texans. I think they take the quarterback from Kentucky. Will Levis. Transferred from Penn State, I believe. Went to Kentucky. Put up some really good wins. Really good numbers. He's got a hell of an arm. Went to the Manning quarterback school. He really is good at picking up blitzes. I watched a little bit of him last night. I kind of like the kid. He played, and by the way, he played in the toughest conference in the country against the top flight DBs in the country. That means something. That's why you never draft a guy like Trey Lance. How do you know Trey Lance, Jordan Love, those guys play bums? There's no competition. No competition. I'm not saying you can't get guys out of those conferences. But, I mean, how do you know who he's playing against? Number 3, I got the Cards taken, the defensive tackle, Jalen Carter, Georgia. This kid, in my opinion, is the best defensive player in the draft. And I know there's another guy in this draft who I think is right there with him. But this kid, Jalen Carter from Georgia, he's got a better motor than Jordan Davis. He's more productive than Jordan Davis. He's a better player than Jordan Davis. He was always a better ball player than Jordan Davis. This kid's really a fabulous ball player. His shuttle drill is great. He's strong as hell. 225. I think he did 40 reps. The guy plays lower than Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis plays too high. You know why you don't see him? Because he plays too high. He's not under his pads. This guy plays under his pads. He's a better ball player. Number 4, trade with the Colts. The Bears slide down to 4 and take Will Anderson. They need an edge rusher. And they need to start building that defense. You get rid of Roquan Smith. You deal Robert Quinn away. You get a 4th-round pick from the Eagles for that. But they got to start retooling that side of the ball. I think in free agency, don't be shocked if DeAndre Hopkins ends up in Chicago and they get him a wideout. I think they'll probably go into the draft also to get the quarterback, a wide receiver. But in my opinion, they got to start building that. They got to stop people. Number 5, Seahawks from the Broncos in the Russell Wilson deal. Edge rusher, Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech. This guy is rapidly moving up the board. Had a nice pro day. Prior to the Super Bowl, people had come and watched him run. Kid runs a 4.65. He's 6'5". He's 275 pounds. He's a pretty good looking ball player. He's going to be an impact ball player, in my opinion, in his rookie year. Lions at 6 via the Rams. This is part of the Stafford deal. Cornerback, Devon Witherspoon. Love this kid. Big hitter. Has great range. Can cover. If gets beat, he's got great recovery skills too. Does a super job at that, recovering if he goes on a false step. He's got great range. He's got long arms. The kid from Illinois is a good ball player. Number 7, Raiders need to do something and do something big. I think they're going to go free agency quarterback, probably Aaron Rodgers. I think they take Paris Johnson, offensive tackle, Ohio State. Best tackle in the draft. Can't go wrong with an Ohio State offensive lineman or D lineman. Number 8, Falcons, offensive tackle, Peter Skoronski, the kid from Northwestern. He's the second best tackle in the draft. Really did a great job for Northwestern, especially playing in the Big Ten. My problem is, when he's a smart kid too, and he's going to be able to pick up the offense quickly. My only problem with him, I saw him beat on a couple bull rushes. Okay. Number 9, Panthers, quarterback, CJ Stroud. I hate this kid. Not the kid personally. Every time I watch him in a big game, he shits the bed. And a quarterback in the Big Ten. Let me see. Quarterbacks from the Big Ten. Let me think about it. Who's a quarterback right now? Give me some quarterbacks that started in the Big Ten in the NFL. Kirk Cousins? I guess Fields. Kirk Cousins and Fields. Tom Brady's not in the NFL anymore. Kirk Cousins and Fields. Anybody else? Brady's not in the NFL. And that's a 23-year gap. Burrow doesn't get counted as a Big Ten guy. They threw him out of the Big Ten. Russell Wilson, okay. He was more of an NC State guy, played 1 year at Wisconsin. I'll give you that. So Wilson, Cousins, and Fields. Okay. It's not technically Burrow. Technically not Burrow. Technically, he played at LSU. He won a Heisman and a national title at LSU. Ohio State kicked him out for Dwayne Haskins and Justin Fields. They thought Fields was better than Burrow. I'm talking guys in the NFL today from the Big Ten. Not history, today. Not history, today. Fields, Cousins, sure, Wilson played at Wisconsin 1 year. Thanks, Sean. I'm kidding. Big Ten don't produce quarterbacks. They don't. So you're going to draft a quarterback from Ohio State again and have that guy shit all over you again. Name me a quarterback that's been a star in the NFL that came from Ohio State. Name me one. One star. One star. And Fields can't throw. So he ain't a star yet. Name me one quarterback from Ohio State. One guy. Name me one guy in the 162 years of the program's existence. And you're going to draft CJ Stroud. You can't name me a quarterback. Bobby Hoeing? One quarterback from Ohio State that was a star in the NFL. But CJ Stroud's going to change the narrative, right? Out of almost 200 years of football, he's the guy. Good luck on that one. Good luck on that one. Ohio State doesn't produce quarterbacks. Never has, never will. That's not what they do there. And when they had the guy, they missed it with Burrow. Can you imagine that? When they had the guy, they let him go. Because Urban Meyer and Ryan Day weren't good evaluators at the quarterback. Then again, the only guy that Urban Meyer's ever produced that was a decent NFL quarterback was Alex Smith. So CJ Stroud, there's bust written all over this guy. Number 10, Eagles, via the Saints. Someone brought this up earlier. You should take a bow for this. And I talked to Mario Cristobal about him. Christian Gonzalez, cornerback, Oregon. He's a damn good-looking ball player. Physical. He's got a little Darrelle Revis in him. So at 10, I've got via the Saints. Cornerback, Christian Gonzalez, Oregon, cornerback. Whoever mentioned that earlier had the head start on Big Sills. He's a good-looking ball player. Number 11, Titans, edge rusher, Lucas Van Ness, Iowa. They got Simmons in the middle. They need an edge rusher now. Number 12, Texans. Via the Browns. Sean Watson deal. Quentin Johnson, TCU wide receiver. Texans are going to get the young quarterback a wide receiver. I like when organizations do this. Okay, they draft a young player, they get him a wide receiver. I like this. Number 13, Jets. Broderick Jones. I think the kid went to Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. Offensive tackle, the Jets need some help, and depending on what veteran quarterback they bring in. Number 14, Patriots. Safety, Brian Branch. See, the Real says this: Jets need a running back. You want to hear something that Bill Parcells had a rule on? Real? Bill Parcells never drafted a quarterback or a running back in the entire time that he was a head coach, higher than the 4th round. And he won multiple Super Bowls with cast-off running backs. Okay? $15, Packers. Edge rusher, Miles Murphy, Clemson. Got to start getting after people. They need an edge rusher. Number 16, Commanders. Defensive tackle, Brian Brees, Clemson. They're going to lose potentially some people in free agency. Number 17, Steelers, cornerback, Joey Porter, Penn State. Proper fit. Number 18, Lions, cornerback, Anthony Richardson, Gators. I think they draft a quarterback, even though they love golf. I think they draft Anthony Richardson because they see what happened with Jalen Hurts. And Anthony Richardson is kind of like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. Anthony Richardson, he needs some work, though. especially in his accuracy. He needs some work, but he's a really great looking athlete. I do think he needs, and I think he needs work. But let me say this to you, Real. If you could draft Trey Lance at number 2, Richardson's better of a prospect. Okay, Trey Lance was the second player taken, and I actually had to go on YouTube looking for highlights of the guy. Number 19, Buccaneers cornerback, Deonte Banks, Maryland. Number 20, Seahawks, DT, Kalijah Kensey, University of Pittsburgh, kick and play. Really runs a good hula hoop. And kid's reminds me a little bit of Cortez Kennedy. Number 21, Chargers, tight end, Michael Mayer, Notre Dame. Kid's good. Notre Dame puts out tight ends. Pretty much not a lot of anything else. I mean, who's the biggest star from Notre Dame? Can you guys name me a star from Notre Dame that's in the NFL today? Zach Martin. And who else? Anybody offensively? Can you name me another Notre Dame guy? Zach Martin. They don't produce NFL dudes, is my point. Okay? Right? So when you take a guy from Notre Dame, yeah, the Detroit wide receiver is pretty good. Watch this, though. The Detroit wide receiver is pretty good, but there's not a lot of dudes from Notre Dame. Supposedly they're 5-star guys. Where? '22 Ravens running back, Robinson, Texas, University of Texas. I think the Ravens get Lamar Jackson a running back. They need one. Either they're going to go free agency or they're going to go, I would say this, they probably go rookie here with a running back. You know why? Because of the $51.3 million deal that's on the table. So they'll want to go rookie here. And they'll sign Robinson here, in my opinion. Number 23, Vikings, wide receiver, Jordan Addison, USC, former Biletnikoff winner. These Southern Cal wideouts as of late, okay? Who's the best wide receiver come out of Southern Cal as of late? Is Juju Smith-Schuster a Southern Cal guy? Name me another guy. That kid London? Who else? Name me another guy that came out of Southern Cal over the last couple of years. Do you really think wide receivers are going to USC still? I think they're in the Southeastern Conference. Where does SC put wide receivers in the league again like they used to back in the day? So Juju Smith-Schuster? I'm talking, guys, stay with me in today's league, not in the history. I'm not talking history, I'm talking today. Woods? These are dudes. Robert Woods, he was a flop in Tennessee. Michael Pittman's pretty good. Michael Pittman's good. The kid from Indianapolis. He's not bad. Okay? I said Southern Cal. USC wide receivers are slow. They're slower than what they used to be. '24 Jags, tight end. Dalton Kincaid, Utah. I think they're going to lose their tight end. That kid Kirk, I think they're going to lose him. He might be a salary cap issue. Number 25, Giants. Boy, do they need wideouts. Jackson Smith Najiba, Ohio State. He's good. I mean, I'll tell you one thing about Ohio State. They may not produce quarterbacks, but they produce running backs, O-linemen, defensive ends, cornerbacks, and wide receivers. Them, Clemson, and Bama. They put wideouts out there, man. I'll tell you that. 26 Cowboys. They're going to go wide out too. Jalen Hyatt, Tennessee. Good-looking player. I thought him and Hooker were pretty good this past season. 27, Bills. Offensive guard. Osiris Torrance, Florida Gators. Bengals. Edge rusher. Keenan White, Georgia Tech. 29, Saints via the 49ers through the Dolphins. Wide receiver, Zay Flowers, Boston College. 30, Eagles. Edge rusher, Nolan Smith, Georgia. What's the one thing you've noticed about Howie Roseman as of late? He loves them SEC guys. Perfect. Stay in that conference. You can't go wrong. They may not be superstar players, but they're players. Good. And they're the top kids in the country. I'm totally good with this. Nolan Smith, edge rusher. Georgia. Kansas City, depth, tight end. Luke Musgrave, Oregon State. There's not a 32nd pick. Why? Because that dumbass owner of the Dolphins got the first-round pick taken away because of the whole BS that he had down there with the Brady stuff. So there's 31 first-rounders, which means this. There's going to be compensation picks. Howie's going to get compensation picks now for these free agents. So keep an eye on that. What they're going to warrant here, I believe there's going to be a ton of compensation picks. Okay? A ton of them. So keep an eye on that. And I think, again, the one thing that is a little caveat with all the free agents, you do get those compensation picks that the league comes in on there. By the way, Howie down there at 31 or 30, I could see him trading out of that. I could see him trading out of that for a first rounder next year. Depending on what happens. Remember, this all depends on what happens with Jalen. All right, I got to take a timeout. My top 10 NFL list post-Super Bowl. I'm going to do that next.